So Behavior just released a new blog post about the upcoming November update, and with it comes a lot of big changes and some new stuff. So let's talk about it. This video isn't scripted or anything, so if I am fumbling my words or I just drag on like this, that's because there is no script, but let's get into it. First off, we have the player cards, and honestly, I don't really care about this at all. These player cards are just going to be like another small little thing. I guess it's not a bad thing at all, really. I'm not really complaining about it, but it's not really anything either. It's just player cards. You're only going to see them when you're in the lobby or at the end game. And end game, you're either going to be there, for 5 seconds, just say GG and dip, or you're going to sit there for 20 minutes arguing with the killer about how they camped and tunneled or how survivors are sweaty, Sabo, Gen Rush squads, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I won't even say anything about like, oh, they're going to monetize it, because I mean, if it's going to work like charms, won't really matter. Charms just either come from codes or the rift, stuff like that. And I mean, if anyone's paying for the battle pass for charms, I think you're insane. I think you're a little crazy. So I'm not really complaining about this. I don't really feel like this is going to really do anything. It's just, a little, I guess, a little bit of customization. You get a little player icon, you get a little emote banner, something like that. I don't know if it's animated. It might be pretty cool, but it's still, it's just whatever really. Next up though is probably the biggest thing of the whole patch, and it is a Trickster mini rework. I say mini rework because it's not a full rework like what Freddy got, but more of, a mini rework where they tweak some numbers around, some of the core mechanics, sort of like what they did with Sadako and Skull Merchant. First off is they made it so that you now throw 4 blades per second from 3, and you do not ramp anymore, so it's always going to be this flat 4 blades per second. And this one is honestly a really huge buff overall, even if it's, you lose the ramping. Since Trickster's main gameplay loop is, throw a few blades, drop your blades, and then run around in a loop, throw 2 or 3 more, and then you do that over and over until they get injured, this just means that, it'll be easier to land blades because, you're throwing more and you won't have to worry about the ramp. But since you are losing the ramping speed bonus, that means that you can't really like run it. So like when they run in a straight line, when they're in a dead zone, you could probably down them in like 4 or 5 seconds because of how fast you could throw blades. You're losing out on that now, but you are getting increased chase potential because you're throwing blades faster. Next up though, to make this more manageable for survivors, they increased the laceration meter to 8 hits from 6, and they made it so that it takes 10 seconds for the laceration to start decaying from 15. For those of you who don't know, originally when Trickster first launched, it was 8 blades to injure someone with laceration, so they're going back on that now. I guess they changed this because now that you're going to be throwing blades easier, since it's always going to be faster, they're making it so it's harder for him to actually injure you, and it's easier for you to lose the stacks. So overall, I still feel like it's going to be annoying for survivors. And considering what's coming up next, it's still going to be just as bad, if not worse. So this is a good change overall because how strong they're making him now, but this is still, going to be annoying for survivors. Next up, and this is probably my favorite personal change out of everything here, is they removed recoil entirely. For those of you who don't know, recoil is entirely random. Yeah, no, they said it themselves. Recoil is just random. So along with having to aim left, right, because he alternates what hands he throws with, unlike, Huntress and Death Slinger, both of them, they aim in the direct center of the screen. But Trickster, you have to alternate, oh, he's throwing with the left hand, right hand. So you had to micromanage that, along with having to deal with the recoil, which is completely random. It was like someone just grabs your monitor and starts shaking it while you're playing Trickster, like, okay, now aim, and they start shaking it while you're also dealing with, the alternating hands. So it was very annoying to play as. But now that they removed that, it's gonna be way easier to actually, aim your shots. Of course, none of this was an issue for people who main Trickster, like all 3 of them, all of them who played for 500 hours. Recoil and alternating hand doesn't really affect them, but it'll make it easier for more people who play it like me, who play like Trickster once every 7 millennia. So now it'll be way more tolerable to play instead of being like left, right, and then my screen starts fucking having an earthquake. Then they buff his default moving speed from 4.4 meters to 4.6. and increased his tear radius from 24 to 32. Tear radius one doesn't really matter. It's whatever. Tear radius is something that can easily be managed with perks like Oblivious if you're using stuff like Plaything or using undetectable perks. It doesn't really matter. But the movement speed one is insane. One of Trickster's biggest weaknesses was him actually being able to loot because he's slightly slower, and then paired with him, holding the knives being slower. But now that he's going to be moving faster, you throw a few knives and you'll be able to make circles around the loop even easier. So this is going to be insane. This is really going to be insane. Like the main counterplay, the main thing you could do against Trickster, not like there's a lot, was that you have that little extra bit of speed because he's slower than most killers to run around a loop and dodge a few knives. But now that he throws knives both faster and he moves faster, it means it's going to be harder to dodge his knives or move anywhere really because he can patrol faster too. I guess I see why they, increased the amount of hits required to get injured to 8 and stuff like that, but still, considering what he gets out of it, faster throwing speed and then moving faster, I feel like this is still overall a huge net win for Trickster. Next up though is probably his biggest change, and that is main event now takes 6 blades to charge from 30, and that the main event duration lasts 5 seconds instead of 10. So the biggest problem with main event is how long it takes to actually get it, right? 30 blades is a lot. That's like 4, maybe 5 chases, and you'd have to reload 3-4 times. Now with 6 blades, that's at least once per chase. If you're landing your blades, like, if you're getting an injury with the blades, that is at least 1 or 2 main events per chase, and that is insane. Of course, then they did reduce the time for it down to 5 seconds, but still, that is insane. One of my biggest issues was, you spend 30 knives or more, probably more, up to like 60, 70 knives to get main event, and then there was that timer where it's like 40 seconds. If you don't use it within those 40 seconds, boom, you lose main event and you have to charge it again, and that's probably like 7 chases. So now that they're making it easier to get main event, I don't really mind that timer if you use it within a few seconds or you lose it, because you'll just get it again by the next chase. But his add-ons are truly what makes main event even more insane, because they have reworked and changed a lot of his add-ons. Memento Blades is no longer a meme add-on, it now instead just makes you throw blades 5% faster. I guess, that's fine. I guess really, he's already throwing it at a decent speed, and main event, it will make up for it more than enough. Inferno Wires increases the duration of main event by 40% from 25, so now that 5-second main event will last longer. I'm not sure, I'll throw the numbers up on screen, that's how much longer it is, so that'll be nice. Considering how often you'll be able to get it too, this will definitely make a huge impact. But what will make an even bigger impact are these add-ons. G-Wound's Autograph has a new effect, making it so that the blade required to charge main event is reduced by 1. So that means that you will get main event every 5 knives. Every 5 blade hits, you get main event. That is just so insane. That is at least, what is it? So if it's 16 hits, because 8 times 2, that's 3 main events in one chase. 3. That is 3 main events in one chase. That is so insane. Tequila Moonrock increases duration of main event by 60%. Again, I'll throw the number on screen here, what that is. If you pair these two together, that's 100% extra main event time. So you could get up to 10 seconds, I think, if my math is right. I don't know, I haven't calculated yet. But if you're going back to that with these 2 add-ons, that's going to be insane. His Spin Soda has a new effect, decreasing the number for main event blades by 2. So just like the Autograph, but 2. So 4 blade hits for main event. 4. If you paired both of these add-ons together, that's 3 blades per main event. 3 blades. Trickster is going to be insane. Okay, I'm not going to lie, Trickster is going to be annoying as hell to play against. Waiting for You Watch increases the duration of main event by 0.25 seconds for each blade hit while it's active from 0.4. So now that they made main event shorter, they're going to make the actual buff you gain per hit shorter too, which makes total sense. I'm fine with it. If anything, I'd probably reduce it more, maybe 0.15, 0.2. I don't know. It doesn't really matter considering how often you'll be getting main event, that making it last longer for each hit doesn't really matter. Next up, Iridescent Postcard has gotten reworked. For each consecutive blade hit, gain a 1% stackable haste effect, up to 7. This bonus is lost when missing a blade or putting us forever into the dying state. For those of you who don't know, Trickster had an add-on originally like this that made it work so that every consecutive blade hit would make the blades do more and more laceration damage per hit. So basically how it would work is like, it would be like half a blade, then a full blade, a blade and a half, stuff like that. So this is sort of like it, but with haste now. And considering that they're removing recoil, this makes it so it'll be way easier for you to actually use it, because recoil and then the alternating hand just made it very annoying. But now that you can aim blades easier and stuff like that, this add-on is going to be insane. However, the craziest thing is they did not mention that one add-on that recharges all your blades when you use main event. The Death Throws compilation, if they did not change that add-on at all, and you can get main event every 4 blades if you use that one add-on with it, that's literally infinite blades. You will never have to reload, because every 4 blades you land means you can fully recharge it. This is insane. Trickster is insane now. He's just infinite ammo. You will never have to reload with him. Overall, for this Trickster mini rework, I am just very afraid for what survivors are going to have to deal with. I can already tell Trickster is going to be somehow even more annoying to play against, even though they made it take longer for him to injure people. Getting main event every 4, because you're always going to want to use Fizz Spin Soda. You're always going to want to use that. That's 4 blade hits. 4 blade hits, and then you get main event. That is going to be insane. And then you can infinitely reload, because, it's only 4 blade hits. And if you have, 30 or 30, however many it is, it's such a weird number. He has like 33 blades, something like that. Every 4 hits, you can fully recharge. That's just I don't even know what to say. It's so insane. It is so insane. And next up, finally, thank God Made for This has gotten nerfed. Now the speed boost will only apply while you're affected by deep wounds. So this means that you can no longer just slap it on and get free 3% haste buff for just doing nothing. Now you actually have to have, something happen for you to get it. So you have to be in deep wounds. This is so much better now, and it actually has synergy with itself, because it was always so strange for me how it has endurance, but it does nothing with it, right? Like, you heal a survivor, you get endurance, and then you also get a speed boost for free. It was like 2-for-1 deal for no reason. But now it has synergy, since you get enduring, and then if you get hit, you get the deep wound, so you get the speed boost. So it just synergizes with itself, which is very nice. And speaking of synergies, that means it's going to work even better with Dead Hard, because Dead Hard, you know, you use it, you get hit, you get put into deep wound, and now they made it so that since it has an actual real requirement now, they remove the whole exhaustion effect, so you can use it while using, you know, sprint burst, lithe, balance landing, etc., etc. And getting deep wound isn't even a hard thing considering some of the meta perks right now, like Off the Record, Buckle Up, Dead Hard, obviously, like I already mentioned. So it's slightly, you know, easy. It's easy to use still, like depending on what it is. And it is kind of an anti-tunnel perk considering, you know, if you get hit off the hook, you know, using Off the Record or anything, boom, that's a free speed boost. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. This is so much better than what it was before that it's just, I'll be fine with this perk now. It's definitely going to drop off very hard, going from number 2, probably, it'll still probably be in top 10. I don't know, we'll have to see how it plays out, but this is still just a very good change overall. Next up, Garden of Joy is getting changed. They're saying that they're going to look at the main building and make it weaker, you know, change some of the loops, change some of the pallets, the vault locations, stuff like that, so it won't be a free win for survivors if they go into the main building, because the main building for Garden of Joy was insane. It had like 2 or 3 god windows, it had god pallet, it had everything you need. You'd run there and you'd be fine. You'd be able to run the killer for a while. And it had loops connecting into it too, that one on the side, like to the right of the house. It was always insane. Lastly though, Red Forest is getting a change too. These were the biggest maps in the game, and they were obviously some of the worst to play on depending on what killer you were. Like if you were a killer with no mobility like Trapper, Hag, or Demogorgon in the early stage without your teleport, stuff like that, these maps were just so impossible to play on, right? They are so big that literally half the map you just didn't even want to defend. It was such a waste of time to defend one half of the map because it would take so long to defend the generators there that by the time you come back to the other generators, they'd probably already be done. So now they're making the maps smaller. So I just feel like overall this is just the best thing they could do for these maps. They made it smaller, and they're saying that they're changing some of the visibility on the loops. They reviewed them, so I don't think they're making them smaller or anything. They're just making it, you know, easier to see the loops, and that's fine because these maps are incredibly dark. These are very dark maps. Like even looking at the pictures, they're like you can't even see more than 5 feet in front of you. So overall, made for this nerf, definitely needed, definitely not, you know, dead in the water like Decisive Strike where they nerfed it to 3 seconds. It's still usable. It's still going to be usable, just like Dead Hard. People said Dead Hard is going to be, you know, super hard to use. Oh, it's dead, they nerfed it, you have to be unhooked. People still use it all the time. I even ran into it into Dead Hard the other match, so fine by me. The map rework's amazing, but overall, the Trickster mini rework is going to be insane. He's going to get main event all the time. He's going to be reloading blades constantly with that one Eerie add-on. You can get it every 3 blade hits if you use both of those add-ons, and you can use it, you know, basically 3 times a chase. He is going to be insane and even more annoying to play against, which I feel bad. This is definitely a very killer-sided patch, I'm not going to lie. Like, wow, it is just so... It's not looking good. Not looking good for survivors. But overall, I think I'll call it here, though. Have a great rest of your day, and take care of yourselves. Peace.